Hi, Kyle.
Hey, what up?
Welcome
You're
to
on
the
the
hangout.
line with Jimmy and Paul. Yeah.
How's it going?
Peachy. I always
Peachy,
lie.
I
I
like
don't know
it.
why I say that. Yeah, sure. Anyway, what is your question? And I'm going to give it, this is going to be a Paul heavy call. I owe it to him.
All right, I got you. So I got to thinking about the slavery. I was all on board with believing everything the Bible said. And then I started calling in the show, started thinking about it. I was like, fuck, man, slavery is just fucked up. So I have to unboard on that. I want to know, I know how you get into slavery versus how you get imprisoned is different, but how is actually being in slavery and versus being imprisoned any different?
You mean like as a day-to-day experience? Like, do you
Like
get
you
yard
are,
time when you're... Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just
It's
going to
just
make a weird...
sorry, man. You are in a combined area. You are being told what to do, when to do it. I mean, you have no freedom. I feel like on both ends.
Well, I would say that slavery, by most definitions, would be a subset of imprisonment. There's different ways, there's different categories of imprisonment, and slavery, if there was a Venn diagram, like is entirely within imprisonment, right? Because you're not
Right.
free to go when you're a slave. So that would be, I think imprisonment to me, in the broadest sense, just means you're not free to go.
Right.
So, do you disagree with that?
I don't. I just honestly, I keep an open mind on everything. So I just wanted to see what your guys' outlook on it would be.
Yeah,
Right.
very briefly,
So,
in America and the corporate system, I would just say there is a lot of slavery in our prison system, but that's all.
For sure, man. Now, all right, can I? Let me move to a different question. Now, on the pro-choice versus pro-life, I differ with a lot of Christians on that. I feel like if God be God and He gave us all free will, it sounds like God is also free pro-choice.
so that's more of a statement than a question, I'm guessing.
I heard something about it earlier, so I just wanted to add that part in.
Because neither of us are theists, and neither of us are qualified to say what the Christian values, if one could even say that there is a general Christian value or what the Christian God wants. We don't think that being exists. So us speculating on his positions on issues would be foolish.
Okay, now let me add to that. To come to the conclusion that there is no God or that we have no reason to believe in a God, wouldn't you have to first study each and every other religion before you come to the realization of reason that there would be a God?
Well, my position, I won't speak for Jimmy, the position is that I have seen so far there has not been any evidence presented to me to convince me that there is a God. Also, I feel like the definitions I've been presented in, and I've examined the major religions, but there may well be a religion out there that does define a God that in fact exists. But that does not mean that I am irrational to hold a position that until I'm presented with such evidence, that I see no reason to accept the proposition. Wouldn't you think?
I got you. Makes sense. Now, if there was a Jesus, these guys documenting the miracles, do you think that they were miracles, magic, or just a myth?
I do not feel like testimony alone can ever be sufficient reason to believe that a miracle happened. People are mistaken every day and they're lying every day, constantly.
Right.
And sincerely mistaken is also a category. So testimony alone will never be sufficient reason. We are jumping all over the map. Is this leading anywhere particular, or is this just a list of 10 questions you'd hoped to ask?
But yeah, you just nailed it. Just try to ask some questions. That's all.
God damn it, it's Kyle from Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I usually end the call good. They all say they fucking love me at the end of the call. Matt,
No, don't go. Don't go. Hey, whoa, Kyle. This has
yeah.
barely been foreplay so far. Do not go.
Man, my clothes are still on.
Okay, good enough. Right. That's my point, Kyle.
Yeah,
Let's actually get to some actual, like, you asked us, you did your interview. I imagine Paul, and if he gives me the cue that he wants to pass on,
Jimmy,
I'm giving him the dominance,
relinquished
but
the question asking. Yeah.
I bet. Well, I'm going to give it back as soon as you want it. But Kyle, you're calling and asking us sort of our opinions on if Christ, if God, if whatever. You know,
Right.
if my arms were made of bread, I'd be a sandwich, right? So Kyle,
Right.
let's get rid of the if. We don't believe in God. You do. We want to believe in everything we can that is true and exists. You have a truth you believe is true and exists. We won't believe in that which is true and exists until we have sufficient reason to do so, which means there are many true things out there that I don't currently hold a belief in, and I want somebody to reveal those things to me, bring them to me, and give me the adequate reason to accept them. So now, Kyle,
Right on.
that truth you have, please explain to us what we're missing and why our denial of what seems to be the Christian God is incorrect.
Now, I have changed my position. I no longer hold to Christianity. I guess it would be more deism. I guess, like, I believe that there's a God. I'm not sure which one, and I'm okay with saying that I don't fucking know.
Okay, so that's not what deism is. Deism is the idea that you believe there is a sort of totally impersonal, undetectable God who started the universe and then fucked right off, or is maybe in some corner of the universe making new dinosaurs or doing some shit, but he doesn't care about his creation. Totally impersonal, and it's just sort of a creating entity. Doesn't even necessarily have to have a will. It might just be the nature of the deistic God. You're saying that you believe that there is a God, and give me the equalities you just gave.
I
Again?
believe that there is a God, but I have no fucking clue which one it is.
Okay, what do you believe this God has done? Presumably created the universe, correct?
Correct. I think that
Okay.
everything written in the Bible is questionable. I think that the Jesus story is convincing, and that the God thing is a fact in my mind. That's currently where I'm at.
By Jesus story,
Jesus
do you
story.
mean
Yeah, go ahead.
in what parts of the Jesus story that he existed, or that like he full-born virgin birth, raised from the dead?
All of it. He died. The body was no longer in a tomb, and I would like to believe that he did resurrect and that he really was sent from God.
Why do you believe there was a tomb?
Why do I believe? Can I ask? Can I answer that like as in general the whole Jesus thing?
Sure. Is this, hold on, I have a mug for this. Is it for the
Okay.
Bible tells me so?
It is not. It was. If you would have asked me that days prior, I would have said, "Well, yeah, duh."
Okay.
But I
Then
got a little smarter.
let me stop interrupting and you carry on.
Okay. I'm going off hearsay, but everybody says that there is historical evidence. I feel like the whole world, like, we celebrate Christmas. I'm sure there's a deeper meaning to Christmas, and just our man. It just makes sense, I guess. Until I do more.
Wait, I don't think I've heard an argument from Christmas before that there must be more to Christmas than just everyone agreeing to be nice to each other for a day.
Right. Okay. Now, what about what about the dates? Like,
So which
we're in
what
2000.
Bible verse? Oh, hold on. Do you believe that the Bible espouses Christmas?
Do I believe that it is in connection?
No. Do you think that the Bible commands people to celebrate Christmas or suggests that anyone should celebrate Christmas?
No, I don't. But the birth of Christ, and that just happens to be the day that we do it.
You think that the Bible suggests that we should celebrate the birth of Christ?
I believe so. Yes.
Where would you, based on what verse or what story?
I would say it would be more than just one day out of the year celebration, but I do believe it should be celebrated, and it is a worldwide.
Answer his
No, no,
question
that's
though.
not
What verse requests we celebrate it?
There is not one.
Right.
okay. And yet it seemed, and that your one of your major groundings is the special feeling you feel at Christmas.
Well, and we run on time, like we're in 2000 AD after the death of who?
No, so first of all, do you think that AD stands for after death?
That's just what I've grown up to believe. Yeah.
I do not know the Latin. Jimmy, do you know the Latin off the top of your head?
Anno, I think it's Anno Domini, right? Let me double check.
So
It is
what
Anno
year do you
Domini.
think? What year do you think Jesus died?
Man, that's up for question. I'm not sure.
So most experts say either 30 or 33 AD.
Okay. Okay, right.
When do you think Jesus was born?
It would have had to have been 33 years prior. Man, good question.
So if you go with the details in the Gospels, you are left with a date of anywhere from plus like AD 10 through BC 14.
Right.
So
Hey,
uh,
BC doesn't stand for before Christ. Does it have a different meaning also?
it also has a Latin term. Now,
Okay.
vaguely, I will acknowledge that people kind of have generally used that, but like you seem to be pinpointing, well, there's this point in time, there was this year one. And how could that year one exist if Jesus didn't rise from the dead? Do you think that the Chinese
Well,
calendar aligns to something that, is a supernatural event?
right. Fuck, man.
Do
This
you
is
believe in the
honestly why
Greek,
I like.
Roman, or Norse gods?
Man, I think that in people's heads they're real.
No, 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 no. Do you believe in them the way you believe Jesus because of all of the tradition and the pointing to things like the dates? Do you believe in the Roman, Greek, and Norse gods?
I don't think so, but it's possible.
Right. What day of the week is it?
It is Wednesday.
Where's that word come from?
Enlighten me.
The Norse gods. What's tomorrow?
Okay, right. I got you.
What's
Thursday.
wait, let's keep going. Kyle. Okay, Kyle, what do you know where that one comes from?
I don't.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that is Thor's Day.
Thor's Day.
And that's the only
Fuck,
reference to
bro.
Thor
All right.
I'm aware of.
Right.
Yeah. What day is the Sabbath?
That would be Saturday.
What's the next day? I forget that people have different Sabbaths. That's my bad. That's my bad. I grew up Mormon, so Sabbath was Sunday, which was literally
Oh God, I
the
feel sorry
day of
for
the
you,
God
man.
of the sun.
Right. Yeah.
Kyle, your answer was correct, by the way, but that's fine.
Yeah, BC. But so it's BC. We have an alternative that is BCE, before current era, and then CE is
Got
the
you.
alternative to AD, because AD, Anno Domini, does stand for. So there have been people who have secularized these terms, but the fact of the matter is Kyle, what you have discovered is not a god. What you have discovered is a god culture, right?
Right.
That's
right.
as we just pointed out, the names of the days of the week, even the ways we celebrate Christmas. If you want to look at how Judaism became more monotheistic and created this like Christ-like thing, you could start off with the animist religions they pulled from, which included a priest who claimed to be the son of God, and when presenting his whole thing, said, I have a message from my father. It begins with, behold, this is my only begotten son, in whom I am well pleased. And then you can go through all of the traditions of Zoroastrianism that Judaism implemented to eventually become monotheistic, that would then become a part of Christianity, and remove the fact that the foundations of Christianity were very polytheistic, that while they worshipped Elohim, they believed lots of other gods existed. And in fact, there are Jewish temples to this day that exist from that period in time, where you can still see representations of where they were giving offerings and worship to some of these other gods. So the whole thing is culture. And Kyle, it sounds like you are in a really good spot of you're thinking about things, you're discovering things, you're less religious this week than you were last week. What a place to begin
Right.
with, to be in. The whole world of actual things that exist is ahead of you, and I'm almost jealous because there's a lot of fun shit to come. There's also, depending on how religious your family and stuff are, there might be some bullshit too, but a lot of good shit to become. And what I think I would recommend for you, Kyle, and Paul
Yeah.
did a sort of tongue-in-cheek representation of this. You created this new logical fallacy earlier called the argument from Christmas. Hilarious. You should learn what the logical fallacies are. Now, the good news is, and patrons will be finding out about it, I think this week, more about it. We're going to be launching a channel with several game shows here soon. And one of the game shows is focused on teaching the logical fallacies. But one of the fallacies you also are committing here is called argument ad populum, which is essentially lots of people believe it, so there must be truth there. And that is not actually a good reason to believe in something.
Right. Now, can I give you a laugh for a second?
Please.
I insist.
Man, okay, so the real reason I am so scared to completely get myself out of religion completely, like the God thing, is because I was a new believer probably 2 years ago. I got so involved in it, so excited about it, wanted to believe everything it said. So I know how easy I am to get myself uninterested in things that I find interesting. I went and got a big old fucking head tattoo of Romans 12:2, hoping that would like, oh yeah, I'm stuck forever, and I don't know how to work around that.
Well, first you launch the GoFundMe for the laser, and see if your friends will help you undo your bad mistake.
Fuck, bro, it's bad, man.
Romans
Nobody
12:2
thinks
is
one.
one you could almost reclaim. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Romans 12:2 is not the worst verse to tattoo on yourself for sure, because there
For
is
sure.
some fortune cookie wisdom to it, if you like, at that level, right? It's a if you squint at it a little bit, don't conform to a pattern, but use your own mind to think about something. You can kind of re-express it that way.
I
Like don't
appreciate your
follow the
Where,
encouragement.
crowd.
yeah,
Where what?
where on your head?
On the very top, covering the entire top of my head.
Okay, so first of all, solution number one is a hat. If Tim Pool can do it every day of his life,
That's what
so can
Forrest
you.
said. That's
It's
what Forrest said.
it's
Get a
not
fucking
tough.
cover up, wear a hat, and just laugh.
Yeah, it'll be all right. Solution number two: wait 5 years of wanting a tattoo before you get one. And I'm telling you that as somebody who has 0 tattoos and has been pretty sure he's wanted the same tattoo on his left shoulder for now 16 years, I think it is, 18 years, and still haven't gotten it. So you
Right.
can wait. You won't die. Wait to get these tattoos. There are very few mandatory tattoos. If you ever go through radiation, you may have to get a tattoo there. But other than that, there's not very mandatory.
And yet, I remember
tattoos.
being on this show where people were randomly tattooing themselves with the art from other hosts. So I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, but
Hey, you
Matt's
guys
getting mad.
raised a family. You guys asked a family. You guys raised the family thing. What do you do when you have a religious family and you start questioning it, and then they start being hateful towards you just because you don't want to stay in the faith?
What did I do? I cut them
That's a
off.
deep one.
Yeah, like what the fuck do you do, man?
So you need to. This has happened to both of us. So you are,
Okay.
but very different experiences, I would say. But you
For
do
sure.
need to, at that point, evaluate. Well, first of all, it may not be up to you. If being there may be no situation by which you can hold your true beliefs and still remain in the family, and that is very sad. And that
Yeah.
unfortunately is a situation. But there is a lot of middle ground sometimes, and you need to figure out how important is keeping these relationships, and can you set aside some of your desire or need to agree in order to maintain the relationships. This doesn't have to be about religious things, but it could be about political things. It could be literally about sports teams. It could be about who knows what you might disagree about. But at some point, any relationship is going to have some level of disagreement, and you just need to make that decision. So I, for example, in my family, we had to come to an agreement that we value the relationship enough that we are not going to ever talk about religion. Now, if
Right.
there are situations where it can't come up, but that's just not a topic we're going to have when we're together, because
Right on.
that is counter to maintaining a relationship. That those are boundaries that we've set, and if anyone is to, like any boundary setting, if people don't respect the boundaries, then you just need to cut that off. But that's
That's
an
right.
option. And also, of course, I'm judging by your voice that you, and this may be inerrantly judging you, but it doesn't sound like you're necessarily financially dependent on the family at this point.
Right.
That I give a whole separate different answer for that if you are still financially dependent. But
I got you.
at this point,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you just need to figure out that you can feel free to be in debate mode all the time if you want, and pick
Yeah.
the fights or accept the fights. But if you value the relationship, at some point, you have to let agreement be something that you sacrifice.
For sure. For sure.
And
Well,
in
hopefully that
2025,
helps.
buy my book, A Beginner's Guide to Religious Deconstruction. That'll help. I don't know if it
Okay.
will or not, but
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about it a lot until I eventually release it. But yeah, Paul's quite right on it. As far as like red flags of whether or not they're reconcilable, I can't tell you for sure who will and won't be, but I can tell you that part of the reason why I think my family wasn't savable is because my parents don't have an identity outside of their religion. In other words, to say like
I
we'll
got
just never talk about religion, they would have nothing to talk about. My brother and I sometimes as a joke will be like, all right, this time we're going to try really, really hard to think of one life skill our father taught us that wasn't go to church and be a church boy.
Yeah, man.
One.
Right
Can't think of
on.
any.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat.
Yep.
Well, hopefully
And then
that
my
helps
parents.
somebody else that's listening. And I guess that's all I had for the day.
Yeah. The last thing I was saying, and then my parents, even after we tried to have a few events where we agreed no religion on the table, would do passive aggressive things like have church music playing at Thanksgiving. When they like plenty of
Right.
non-church music, like it was obvious what they're doing. And you know, in previous years when we had Thanksgiving with like Jewish friends and family and things like that, they weren't putting on the Mormon Tabernacle Choir then. Or I'm sorry, I'm sure it's now
Right.
called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Tabernacle Choir. Anyway, it's some sort of an inside joke. Kyle, anything else before we let you go?
Man, that's all. I appreciate y'all's time.
Tight.
All right.
All right,
Bye,
take care, guys.
Kyle.
Bye.
That was kind of topic roulette at the start there.
Yeah, it was. It was, but I think the overarching conversation is going to be much more useful than what followed. I think will have been much more useful than Paulogia. Hey, Paul, I've got some trivia questions for you, and the trivia is all about yourself.